Picture a perfectly lazy Sunday morning. I'm half awake, sipping lukewarm coffee while my wife, Lucy, waters her tomatoes. The most exciting thing I expect is maybe a neighborhood cat chasing squirrels. Suddenly, a black van screeches, too. A stop in front of my house, 3 guys in tactical vests jump out, yelling HOA compliance enforcement. Before storming up my driveway, I'm still in my slippers trying to make sense of it when they snatch my wife, snatch her right off the porch swing and bundle her into the van. But here's the kicker. She doesn't scream or struggle. She looks at me, calm as can be, and winks. That's when I realize 2 things. 1, I might not know my wife as well as I thought, and 2, our little suburb might be run by a tyrant named Karen who heads the local HOA, and if my wife's reaction is any clue, Karen is the least of my worries. Welcome to Greenwood Gardens, where petty fines, secret missions, and a sinister homeowners association collide. But just before I start, I'd kindly ask you to hit that subscribe button, give this video your like, and comment below with the city you're watching from. Your support helps us share these powerful stories far and wide. Trust me, it's one wild ride. Below is the full narrative, building off the chaos hinted at in the hook. My name is Nick Perry. I'm a 62-year-old retired HVAC technician who thought suburban life in Greenwood Gardens would be easy: mow the lawn once a week, help Lucy with her tomatoes, occasionally chat with the neighbors about how the local pool lacks umbrellas. But we've also got a local HOA homeowners association run by a lady named Karen. Yes, a real, dyed-in-the-wool Karen she can cite by laws for how many decorative stones you can place by your driveway. She once fined me $50 because my dog, Bingo, left a squeaky toy out on the porch, which she labeled unapproved clutter. My wife, Lucy, a sweet, unflappable woman, has always seemed content. She teaches a yoga class for seniors, grows the biggest heirloom tomatoes you've ever seen, and makes the best blueberry muffins in the county, or so I've been told. If you met her, you'd never guess she'd get hauled away by a bunch of guys wearing tacky HOA security patches, but that's exactly what happened. And the worst part, Lucy didn't even blink. She let them take her. I do the only thing that makes sense to a 60-something old-timer in crisis. I call the police. The dispatcher calmly listens to me describe how 3 men in fake tactical gear abducted my wife, but her tone changes the moment I mention HOA compliance. She says, "Sir, we've had multiple reports of impersonators claiming to be with local HOAs. Don't chase them. Officers are on their way." So apparently these creeps might not even be real HOA security, maybe just criminals using the name. But that doesn't explain Lucy's calm wink. I can't stop replaying that moment in my mind. She looked more prepared than terrified, like she wanted to go with them. But why? I head back into the house, phone clutched in my trembling hand. Then I see a message blinking on our fancy smart home hub, something I've never noticed before. Pine protocol activated. What on earth is Pine protocol? I mutter. Curiosity overtakes my shock, so I tap the screen. To my utter disbelief, a hidden panel behind our bookshelf slides open, revealing a small steel case with a biometric lock already disengaged, a slim laptop, and a plain envelope labeled with my name in Lucy's handwriting. My heart's pounding. I open the envelope. Inside is a letter that starts, "Nick, if you're reading this, it means I've been taken. Don't panic, this is part of the plan. I work for the CIA. Technically, I was retired, but Greenwood Gardens is part of an ongoing investigation. The HOA here is involved in something much bigger than you realize. I'll explain everything soon. For now, trust no one, especially Karen." I read that 3 times just to absorb it. My wife, a CIA agent. Our sweet Lucy, who fusses over doilies and knits sweaters for neighbor kids. Meanwhile, the laptop boots up with some specialized CIA portal, no login required, apparently keyed to my face. There are files labeled Operation HOA Net with maps of the neighborhood, red-pinned addresses, and thick dossiers on Karen and the rest of the HOA board. Karen's file is the thickest, evidence of suspicious transactions, weird travel logs, plus an invoice paying a private security contractor from Nevada. Must be those phony compliance officers who snatched Lucy. There's even a contingency plan, suburban lockdown file describing how this entire neighborhood might be used to launder funds. A phone tucked inside the steel case starts buzzing. I answer, voice shaking. A woman identifies herself as Marcia and says she's part of Lucy's CIA unit. Mr. Perry, Lucy's safe for now. She wanted to be taken to confirm our intel on Karen's operation. Don't trust anyone from the HOA. We're tracking your wife's location via a GPS device she planted on herself. I barely manage a response. My mind is reeling. Then the call cuts out. I look out the window and see the real Karen standing on my lawn, flanked by two of those hired goons. She's got a sweet, tight-lipped grin and calls out, "Mr. Perry, I need to speak with you about your wife's violations." She obviously wants me to step outside. But the letter said to trust no one, especially Karen, so I just wave dumbly. From the window, faking confusion, she gives me that same chilling smile, then turns around and strolls away, her cronies in tow. As soon as they're gone, I lock every door and curtain. That evening, I notice something peculiar. My neighbor, Mrs. Harlow, is watering her garden, but in a pattern that seems downright coded. She's not watering everything, just certain spots, repeating them like she's signaling. Acting on pure instinct, I sneak over to see if she's home. She opens the door the second I knock and ushers me in, whispering, "They'll sweep the neighborhood in 10 minutes. We have to be quick." Inside, instead of crocheted doilies and cat figurines, I see floor-to-ceiling monitors showing the entire block, plus a desk cluttered with encrypted radios. She confesses she's an undercover agent codenamed Dahlia. Working with Lucy's unit, Lucy deliberately allowed herself to be taken to pinpoint Karen's base of operations, some secret basement under the HOA clubhouse. But first, we have to kill the clubhouse security system, which Lucy apparently helped install under the guise of smart irrigation. Why would my wife rig a security system for the HOA she's investigating? I ask, baffled. Dahlia shrugs. She had to earn Karen's trust. But that means we can also sabotage it, provided someone can slip into the maintenance shed behind the clubhouse, and that someone is you, Nick. So now I'm part of a spy operation. At 62 years old, with arthritic knees, good grief. But Lucy's in trouble, so I swallow my fear and agree. Dahlia hands me a flash drive containing a virus that'll knock out the entire camera network. Next morning, I keep up appearances, wave politely to Karen while taking out the trash. She eyes me like a hawk. If you've ever seen a cat about 2 pounds on a helpless mouse, that's what it feels like. Around noon, Karen's guards wander off, presumably for lunch. Perfect. Heart hammering, I dash behind the hedges, pick the lock on the shed door. Thank you, Lucy, for that random lock-picking tutorial last winter, and find a disguised control panel under a fake lawnmower. I insert the flash drive, watch a green light flicker, and sprint back home. No alarm, no frantic footsteps. Did I really just sabotage a multi-million-dollar criminal network in under 5 minutes? Feels surreal. That same night, fresh off my little espionage success with the maintenance shed, I head back home feeling weirdly triumphant, like a 62-year-old James Bond who just planted a digital bomb. But no sooner have I locked the door than my phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. "We know what you did. 10 minutes or we blow your cover." I stare at it, heart pounding. Who's we? Before I can respond, my doorbell rings. Standing there is Robert Sparks, a quiet neighbor I've never really spoken to, the kind who always waves politely but keeps to himself. This time, though, he's anything but shy. He looks jittery, sweat beading at his forehead. "Mr. Perry," he whispers, "I need to talk to you fast." Half of me wants to slam the door, my gut screaming that this is some new twist, but Lucy's letter said not to ignore odd behavior. So, I let him inside. He glances around nervously, as though expecting an ambush in my living room. He blurts out, "Karen's men forced me to install an extra camera at your back fence. They caught you sneaking into that shed. I didn't know what it was for. At first, they threatened to find me out of my home if I refused. Now I realize the text about we blow your cover must be from whoever's monitoring those cameras. Did they threaten Robert into placing them there?" I swallow hard. "So they already have footage of me messing with the shed," Robert nods, his hands trembling. I overheard them talking on a phone call. They're emailing that footage to Karen's second-in-command, some thug named Burgess. He's the real muscle behind these fake HOA cops, apparently. If you don't hand over something, money, documents, I don't know, they'll expose you. For a second, I can't speak. My big sabotage might be undone in a single email. What do they want me to do? I manage to ask. Robert shrugs miserably. All I know is they said you have to stand down and let Lucy's infiltration fail. They figure if you keep quiet and sabotage your own sabotage, Karen will let you and Lucy go. But we both know that's not how Karen plays. He's right. Karen doesn't do deals, she crushes. I exhale a shaky breath, rummaging for the secure phone Lucy left me. I'd planned on calling Dahlia, codename for Mrs. Harlow, if anything else went sideways. Stay here, I tell Robert. Don't open the door for anyone. I slip into the study. Dahlia, I say when she picks up. We've got a big problem. Karen might have footage of me planting the virus. They're threatening blackmail. Dahlia's voice stays controlled. How much time do we have? About 10 minutes if the text is real, I reply. Okay, I can route an interference signal. If they try sending large files, video or otherwise, we can jam the upload for a little while, but it won't last forever. You need to find that camera they planted, remove the memory card physically, or destroy it at the source. I hang up. Face Robert, who's perched on my couch like a man about to faint. Show me exactly where they made you put that camera. He leads me to the backyard, points to a high spot on the fence behind a vine-laden trellis. Sure enough, I see the tiny glint of a lens. My arthritic knees protest, but I climb a short ladder, slip the camera off its bracket. The battery pack's blinking. This is more high-tech than any standard security cam. I twist it open, yank out the micro SD card. My chest relaxes a fraction. At least they can't physically retrieve the recording now. But for all I know, they could have transmitted a backup. Already. Robert says softly, I have an idea. They made me run some cable from my garage to a router box near the clubhouse. They said it was for additional HOA bandwidth, but I suspect it's how the camera was sending data in real time, a direct data line. My mind spins. If the camera was streaming to that router, maybe we can fry that line. Robert, can you show me where you installed that cable? He looks terrified but nods. If it helps fix this mess, yes. We hurry along the back alley, the setting sun giving the whole place a golden glow that feels bizarrely peaceful, considering we're sneaking around like criminals. Robert leads me to a power junction box behind an old garden shed. Sure enough, there's a thick cable piggybacking on official lines, spliced with suspicious hardware. Dahlia's voice echoes in my mind. We can jam and upload for a little while. That might not be enough. If that cable reconnects, Karen's people can resend the footage. I need something permanent. Robert grimaces. I've got a wire cutter in my garage. Go, I say. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. He darts off. I keep watch, nerves on edge. Suddenly I hear footsteps behind me. I freeze, half expecting one of Karen's mercenaries. But a familiar voice hisses, Nick, are you out of your mind? It's Dahlia herself, wearing black sweats and a hoodie like some B-movie spy. I jammed the feed, but Karen's guys know something's up. They're sweeping this area into minutes. Then help me cut this line, I whisper back. She glances at the cable. Gonna be loud if we just snip it? Those boxes sometimes have a meltdown if you cut power without caution. Robert reappears, wire cutters in hand. Dahlia carefully pries open the secondary router cover. Her expression goes grim. Yep, definitely a custom transmitter. Might have a hidden battery backup inside. We gotta break it from the inside out. Between the three of us, we manage to detach the transmitter's protective casing. Dahlia slams the butt of her flashlight into a circuit board, sparks fly. Robert nearly drops the cutters. I kill the main power feed with a flick of the switch. The router hum dies instantly. A floodlight suddenly illuminates the alley. We press ourselves against the fence. Some stooge in a cheap tactical vest is scanning the area. We barely avoid being seen by inching behind a row of tall hedges. My heart's hammering like it's the final act in a spy thriller. Eventually, he moves on, cursing under his breath. Dahlia exhales. Okay, they'll figure out soon enough that their cable's toast, but by then we'll be in the final phase of Lucy's plan. Robert sighs heavily. I'm done being their puppet. If you need me for anything else, just tell me. I can't let Karen destroy more lives. I pat his shoulder. Thank you, Robert. Seriously, as Dahlia and I watch him slip back to his house, I realize how many regular folks in this neighborhood have been living in fear of Karen's phony enforcement. The guilt on Robert's face said it all. He never wanted to spy on me, but he saw no way out. Dahlia turns to me. We have to stay on guard. They may try something else if they realize we snipped their direct feed. Keep your phone on, stay indoors, and be ready for Lucy's final instructions. Tomorrow night is the big showdown. I nod. The truth is, I'm exhausted. I'm 62, not 22, and all this sneaking around has me longing for a nap. But I also feel a rush of adrenaline, like we've just won a small victory in a larger war. Karen's blackmail scheme got derailed for now. As I shuffle back home, the faint glow of streetlights guiding my steps, I think about Lucy, wherever she is, locked in some basement or planning her own sabotage. At least I've done my part to hold the line. Because if Karen thinks a retiree can't fight back, she's dead wrong. That night, I get a muffled message from Lucy via the secure phone. Nice job, sweetheart. They're blind now. Extraction's happening soon. I'll explain everything, promise. I just stare at the phone, reeling from the fact that my mild-mannered wife is basically James Bond in yoga pants. I get instructions to attend a special HOA budget meeting in the clubhouse at 7 p.m. Everyone in the neighborhood is supposedly invited. But Dahlia insists I show up. My presence will distract Karen long enough for Lucy's team to raid from the hidden tunnels underneath. So there I am, stepping into the clubhouse with a plate of sugar cookies because I'm 62, and that's just how we roll in the suburbs. Karen greets me with her classic Stepford smile. Why, Mr. Perry, how responsible of you to attend. I hope we can settle any outstanding issues regarding your wife's conduct. Inside, a handful of other neighbors sit at plastic tables with miserable expressions. Two big guys in button-down shirts stand near the exit, probably more of Karen's hired muscle. The air hums with tension. Karen starts the meeting with slides about beautification fees and strict new guidelines for porch furniture. She sounds calm, but her eyes dart around, scanning for any sign of trouble. Meanwhile, I keep glancing at my watch. Lucy's crew is on a 12-minute timer. Right about the 8-minute mark, an odd static buzz crackles over the clubhouse speakers. Some interference plan Dahlia set up. Karen's face goes pale for a split second. She abruptly tries to end the meeting and slip out the side door. I block her path, faking ignorance. Leaving so soon? Karen, I had a question about these fees. And also about that big basement renovation I saw on the HOA ledger. She shoots me a laser glare. Her voice grows icy. Mr. Perry, you're obstructing HOA procedure. That's grounds for immediate enforcement. I brace myself. You mean the same enforcement you used to kidnap Lucy? The same money you're laundering with those phantom landscaping bills, Ms. Karina Volkov. She flinches at her real name. The facade shatters. She signals her men to note-takers in the corner who promptly pull out pistols. Everyone gasps. But right then, one of the neighbors turns out to be another undercover agent, tosses a small bag on the floor that bursts in a flash of bright white light. It's like a Hollywood stunt scene. People scream, Karen stumbles, the big guy's reel. From the flash and out of nowhere, a trapdoor in the stage floor pops open. Lucy emerges covered in dirt, hair disheveled but eyes blazing with focus. She's holding a stun baton. Double quotes, Karen, you picked the wrong neighborhood. Karen lunges, but Lucy flicks the baton and sweeps Karen's leg, dropping her in an instant. The hired goons try to bolt, only to find the exits jammed by Lucy's team, which includes neighbors disguised as landscapers. Within minutes, it's all over. Cops swoop in, although, from the hush-hush vibe, it's more CIA than local. Police. Karen is cuffed and escorted out, speechless for once. My fellow residents peek through the windows, baffled at the commotion. No one quite knows what just happened, only that the dreaded HOA dictatorship toppled in a matter of minutes. No sooner have Karen's fake officers been subdued and the CIA team begun tagging evidence than a sudden commotion erupts near the clubhouse door. One of the landscapers, really another undercover ally, stumbles inside, panting like he's run a marathon. His face is sheet white. Lucy, Nick, he gasps. We've got a situation, some new figure out front calling the shots, claiming the authority to override all arrests here. Says he's from regional HOA oversight. Lucy's eyes flash. She's still breathing hard from subduing Karen, baton in hand. Regional what? The only oversight we expected was the local PD. She exchanges a worried glance with me. Could be a last-minute rescue attempt for Karen. We rush out to the lobby, stepping around the scattered chairs and half-dazed henchmen. Sure enough, there's a tall man in a crisp blazer, scowling at the scene of chaos. In one hand, he holds a thick binder stamped with an official-looking HOA seal. In the other, a phone he's speaking into at breakneck speed. Listen carefully, he barks into the phone. I don't care what Karen promised. We can't lose Pine Grove's revenue. Stream, bring the van around back, no plates. We'll handle retrieval ourselves. He stops mid-sentence when he sees Lucy and me approaching, flanked by two real federal agents. With a click, he ends the call and clears his throat as though shifting straight into public relations mode. He says, plastering on a political grin. You must be the local troublemakers who thought you could arrest the head of a fully sanctioned homeowners association. I bristle at the word troublemakers, but Lucy steps forward calmly. Karen's under arrest for a list of federal crimes. Who are you? He presses the binder to his chest. Name's Sylvester Dean, special representative of the Regional HOA Oversight Committee. My job is to ensure continuity of operations in case any mishaps occur with local leadership. Which, evidently, they have. Lucy narrows her eyes. Funny how you're here literally minutes after Karen got taken down. He shrugs, feigning innocence. I was already en route. Routine evaluation, then he glances around at the battered henchmen and the cluster of uniformed agents documenting evidence. But apparently, you folks have made quite the mess. One of the CIA team members steps up, flashing credentials. Sir, this operation is under federal jurisdiction now. You'll have to leave or show cause for. Sylvester waves his binder. Federal. I don't see any official order stating you can seize HOA property. In fact, if you consult by Law 47, you'll see that, oh, for crying out loud, I mutter, stepping forward. I'm a 62-year-old retiree who has absolutely no patience. Left for more red tape. Didn't we just prove Karen's operation is a criminal ring? And you're still reciting by laws. Sylvester's lip curls. Karen's operation may have had irregularities, but the bigger structure stands. I have backup on the way, Mr. Perry. You might want to stand down before you're all charged with trespassing. I feel Lucy's hand on my shoulder, a silent signal to stay calm. The truth is we have no idea how high up this regional oversight nonsense goes, or whether Sylvester is just another cog in the criminal machine. Suddenly, from behind us, we hear the sound of Karen still cuffed laughing bitterly. She's slumped against a table, an agent's hand on her shoulder. Her voice cracks with sarcasm. You think this little stunt changes anything? The pipeline's bigger than me. You can't close it off with a single arrest. Sylvester smirks at Lucy. You hear that? Karen may be going away, but you can't arrest an entire system. In that moment, Lucy squares her shoulders. Her gaze flicks to the agent nearest Karen. Bring her here, Lucy orders. There's steel in her voice that I rarely hear. The agent drags Karen forward, still cuffed, eyes blazing. Lucy steps so close to Karen that their noses are nearly inches apart. You want to talk about systems, she says quietly. How about the federal system that deals with organized crime? Or the new statutes about money laundering under false corporate structures? Because if you think we can't unravel this from top to bottom, you're sorely mistaken. Karen maintains her sneer, but there's a tremor there. Meanwhile, Sylvester cuts in. You're out of your jurisdiction. We have property rights to this building and everyone in it. Lucy shakes her head. Not anymore. You don't. The CIA has acquired enough evidence to classify these premises as part of a multi-state laundering investigation. So your precious oversight committee is about to be overshadowed. An agent flips open a laptop at a makeshift command center. We see real-time data popping up. Bank accounts, shell companies, digital footprints. Lucy points at the screen. We just traced your so-called regional HOA oversight to the same Nevada-based mercenary group Karen hired. Congratulations, Sylvester, your cover's blown. He stiffens, glancing frantically around the room as if searching for an escape. Two more agents block the main exit. Another agent glides in from behind, effectively boxing him in. You can't do this, Sylvester sputters. I represent thousands of HOA members across shell corporations. Lucy finishes. Your name shows up in the transaction logs right next to Karen's. Thanks to Nick's sabotage of your data feed, we gleaned all your real-time communications. The color drains from his face. He tries one last gambit. Those are private business dealings. You have no right. Actually, we have every right, Lucy interjects, calmly flipping open her own ID. You see, Ms. Volkov, Karen wasn't the only target. We suspected a bigger fish lurking behind the facade. Turns out that's you, Mr. Dean. Karen's eyes dart to Sylvester, realization hitting. You used me to expand your operations into smaller HOAs, didn't you? She spits. You said it'd be easy money, low risk. Sylvester tries to hush her, but it's too late. The entire clubhouse is now the scene of a second, even larger fish getting reeled in. Agents move in with zip ties. Sylvester attempts to lunge for his phone, but a quick twist from an agent's arm puts him face down on the nearest table. Lucy beckons one of the team over. Beg all those documents. Make sure we preserve the chain of evidence. I stand there, my heart pounding, amazed by how Lucy's orchestrated the entire meltdown of this criminal network. The real big boss just strolled in, thinking he could bully us with fancy bylaws, only to get snared by the same data trap we used on Karen. Karen's arrogance flickers into desperation. She hisses at Sylvester, you told me we were bulletproof. He doesn't respond, he's too busy being cuffed. The two criminals glare at each other in mutual betrayal. Lucy glances at me, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Looks like we have a lot more paperwork to do than expected. She gestures at the cowering minions who used to follow Karen around. Better call in a bigger evidence van. I exhale, relief and adrenaline mixing in my tired bones. I'm just glad we nipped it in the bud, she chuckles, bud. This is practically a grove of weeds, Nick, but at least we uprooted the biggest ones behind us. Agents are busy. photographing the new evidence. A few neighbors peek in from the porch steps, jaws dropping at the sight of not one but two major HOA criminals in custody. Finally, Lucy taps my shoulder. "Go take a breather, honey. We'll wrap up here. Then, you and I can have that quiet retirement you keep talking about if no more hidden puppet masters show up, that is." I nod, giving her a weary grin. "I'll hold you to that. But after tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire shady organization tries one last move." She shrugs, eyes gleaming. "Then we'll be ready." With that, the second wave of arrests proceeds, the clubhouse brimming with activity. Corinne's false reign is over, and her even more dangerous cohort, Sylvester Dean, goes down with her. This time, we're not just toppling a local tyrant, we're shutting off a pipeline for an entire criminal enterprise. All I can think is how unimaginable it was a few days ago that my biggest concern was Bingo's squeaky toy violations. Now, with Lucy's guidance and a bit of my stubborn determination, our small corner of suburbia is safe from not just Corinne, but the bigger fish in the pond. That night, Lucy and I share tea on our porch swing like nothing's changed, except everything has, she quietly says. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner." I shrug, swirling my tea. "I get it, you had a mission. Besides, who would have believed me if I said my wife's a secret agent?" We both laugh, tension dissolving in the warm evening air. Of course, the next morning, a slick-looking gentleman in aviators shows up claiming he's the newly appointed HOA president, here to reorganize the community. He's all smiles, but Lucy and I exchange a glance. One oppressive HOA figure might be gone, but we suspect the criminal network behind them might just send another puppet. Still, the entire neighborhood's changed. Freed from Corinne's tyranny, people start supporting each other. Some come by to thank Lucy for whatever it was she did, though they don't know the half of it. We organize a potluck in the park, no more random fines or threats. For a while, it feels like Greenwood Gardens might finally become the peaceful suburb I always pictured, but Lucy, wise as ever, says it won't be over until the whole network's dismantled. Corinne's just a piece of the puzzle. If the bigger players decide this neighborhood's too profitable, they might try again. She's right. Not long after, we see another moving van across the street. Out steps a tall woman in mirrored sunglasses, surveying everything like she's scanning for weaknesses. Lucy sips her tea, sighs, and remarks, "Get a load of that brand new neighbor." I do believe we're in for another wild ride, and so, even at 60-something, I've discovered that retirement can be more exciting than I ever bargained for. When your spouse is CIA, your HOA is run by a shadowy ring of criminals, and your porch swing is a vantage point for covert ops. Well, let's just say, you don't need cable TV, you just keep an eye on who moves in next door. With Corinne taken away in handcuffs and Lucy's mission for the moment accomplished, life in Greenwood Gardens seems calmer. At least on the surface, we might still get a suspicious new HOA boss or a random infiltration from some bigger criminal ring, but one thing's for sure, Lucy and I are ready for them together. Because I've learned that old folks can be plenty clever, especially with a few hidden gadgets, a good sense of humor, and a porch swing vantage point. If you enjoyed seeing Corinne finally get her comeuppance, smash that like button. Want more suburban adventures where the underdog triumphs? Hit subscribe. Ever run into a power-hungry HOA boss yourself? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories and maybe pick up a few tips for the next time trouble comes knocking. Thanks for watching. That's the entire story, from the bizarre HOA kidnapping of Lucy to the final showdown under the clubhouse and a hint of potential new enemies on the horizon. Because if there's one thing life in Greenwood Gardens has taught me, it's that you never know who's really living next door, or what secrets they might be hiding.